Hello, this is Bill Steffen. I hope you're having a great day today. Guess what? I moved my flannel shirts toward the front of the closet. We have a little bit of a change of pattern here. We're not getting drastically cold, but we're getting the more typical October temperatures here, with even a chance of a little bit of frost here in some places. More on that here in just a little bit. All right, let's get into the weather here. First of all, I want to point out the rain that we have had around here. The rain that came mostly overnight last night. 1.52 inches at Hopkins was the highest total I saw. Inch and a half at Plainwell. Forest Hills close to Grand Rapids here at 1.19. Battle Creek always seems to get quite a bit of rain. They're about 5 inches over their average for the summer, and they're about the only place that's really above average like that. Rockford and Battle Creek tied there. Grand Rapids officially with 86 hundredths, Holland at 75 hundredths. I had nearly an inch in my house, and like I said, it was most welcome with the dry pattern that we've had and the dry pattern that is going to continue to be with us here much of the rest of this week. As I mentioned before, we do have a frost advisory in effect, and it covers the counties here during the early morning of Newaygo, Mecosta, Isabella, and then Lake Osceola and Clare counties as well, and that extends up into northern lower Michigan. And we're getting about that time of year. This is about the average time of our first decent frost here. So if you want to keep the tomatoes growing another few days here, probably a good idea to cover things up. It looks like Thursday morning will be the coolest morning. While there may be a little bit of frost this morning up toward Big Rapids, Baldwin, Clare, Cadillac, it looks like Thursday morning will be the coolest morning, and we'll have more on that here in just a little bit. Well, let's take a look right now at some low temperatures for Thursday morning, and you can see, look, we're down to 33, 34 here in Grand Rapids, 32 at Stanton in Montcalm County, about 30 up in Big Rapids, below freezing there. We got a 26 up at Gaylord, and it's probably going to get that cold. So indeed, watch out for the fact that if you, like I said, if you want to keep things growing that are frost sensitive, you probably want to cover things up here Wednesday night into early Thursday. Okay, some high temperatures here on Tuesday, and this was kind of a strange day. The southeast corner of the state made it up around 70. Had some showers come in for the ball game over in Detroit. They had a delay over there. But here in West Michigan, it was a little bit warmer north where there was a bit more sunshine. You can see 67 in Fremont and the Muskegon Airport. And these were afternoon temperatures. Many of these places were warmer at 12:01 a.m., and that would go into the books as the high temperature for the date. But then we got Big Rapids, Mount Pleasant, the Muskegon Beach and the Holland Beach both reached 64. And then where it was cloudier and a little bit on the damp side, it was cooler. Kalamazoo's high temperature just 61, and Battle Creek 59, Coldwater and Marshall, which had been at the top of the list here over these past couple of weeks, are now at the bottom of the list for a day. And that's a picture of what Holland Beach should look like. That was probably around the noon hour. And way in the distance, you can see some clearing, some blue sky off to the north. But look at how empty the beach is. Past couple of weeks, we've had a lot of people hanging around at the beach, Lake Michigan, watching the sunsets and whatnot, but not so the case here with the cooler air that we've had. All right, we'll take a look at our sunrise and sunset time. Sunrise 7:48, sunset at 7:11. We're down to 11 hours and 23 minutes of daylight, and the average high temperature has dipped another one to 64. So that's about where our high temperatures are going to be the next several days, but that's not super cold for this time of year. That's average. Record high temperature, a warm 88 in 2007. I remember that stretch of 5 days we had with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, and I was swimming in Lake Michigan. I remember that at Holland State Park. Record low temperature was back in 1896 and 1989. On we go to take a look at the forecast for the lake for Wednesday. North to northeast winds 10 to 18 knots, waves near shore 1 to 3 feet. I would imagine by the time that wind gets down to the south end of the lake, down toward Chicago and northern Indiana, the waves could be closer to 3 to 6 feet down there. We got a water temperature from the Holland Channel at 69. Reed's Lake was also at 69. Buoy temperatures not available. We'll take time out right now and thank one of our sponsors, that is Complete Care Concierge. Listen to this.
Need a fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service? Complete Care Concierge has you covered. Serving all of West Michigan, we offer one-time, daily, weekly, and bi-weekly cleans, plus move in, move out. We also service apartment hallways and laundry rooms. Our work is guaranteed, gift cards are available, and we even clean on weekends. There's no better way to say I love you than giving a tired mom a break from dishes and laundry. Are you a busy professional? Pamper yourself by taking vacuuming and dusting off your plate. Office manager, keep your business looking and feeling its very best. Call 616-264-1397 today for a spotless space and total peace of mind.
Well, as I record this, I am watching the full moon almost directly overhead right now. This is what the moon looks like. This is a picture from NASA. They have daily pictures of the moon that you can grab off the internet, which is nice. And the full moon is technically on October the 7th, but right when we get around the equinox here, you get several nights in a row where the moon is about 100% full. So it's really kind of neat to be watching that. And again, the full moon closest to the equinox is called the harvest moon. The one after that is called the hunter's moon. All right, some severe reports, and not many to report to everybody here. This is, if you look out toward New Mexico, there was one storm that produced some very borderline hail, severe hail reports. You can see the 4 reports down there, Abo and Bernardo down in New Mexico. And other than that, no real severe weather. There were thunder showers, but it's nice to get the rain without getting the severe weather. Well, who's going to see the thunder showers here today? No organized severe weather is expected. If we take a look at the map here for this Wednesday, you'll be able to see that we've got the chance of thunderstorms on the Wednesday map in Florida and also down in extreme southern Texas. If we get indexed to that next map and put that up here, also in the southwest, there will again be more thunder showers in parts of New Mexico and Arizona. But nothing across the Great Lakes area. The Wednesday map, if we can see that, please, calling for, there it is, right there. You can see the thunder shower possibilities from southern Colorado, New Mexico, parts of southwest Texas, and down in southern Florida, where it just has been raining here for the last 5 weeks, more on than off. Pretty interesting. Now, the next map shows you Thursday, and Thursday's temperatures will be on the mild side across much of the country, with the air kind of dry and stable. Could be a thunder shower or two from northeast Kansas up toward Minneapolis, Rochester, Minnesota. And you can see in the southwest that thunderstorm possibility again, with possible heavy rain in Arizona, especially. There will be more thunderstorms in Florida and the southeastern United States. We want to take a look at tropical weather here for a little bit, and the first slide on our tropical show is the new tropical storm Jerry, which is in the Atlantic. Very often, if we get a tropical storm in that position, it's often heading into the Caribbean or into the United States, but that has not been the case this year. Tropical storms and hurricanes have been making a curve, kind of scooting by Bermuda and heading out to the northeast and not impacting the United States. Don't worry about that yellow X near the Yucatan. That's only about a 10% chance. That's not going to happen. Jerry is going to become a hurricane, maybe even a major hurricane, and it will brush by the Lesser Antilles Islands. I think we have the next map is going to be, we'll show you exactly the path of the storm. And there it is. You can see the H stands for hurricane. M would be for major hurricane, but this one just stays a regular hurricane. And the yellow indicating there that we do have a tropical storm watch in effect for the Virgin Islands, those northern Lesser Antilles Islands there, with the hurricane bending north and then off toward the northeast. All right, we'll go on to the Pacific Ocean right now. And first of all, in the eastern Pacific, we've got Octave, which is a tropical storm hanging on, drifting off toward the north-northwest. And not too far to the right of it is Priscilla. And then the next one where the X is going to be, we're going to have another one developing, and that one may be called, or that one will be called Raymond. And that will be close enough to the Mexican shore that places like Acapulco will have to keep an eye on it, because it could bring some tropical storm conditions to that Mexican coastline. But let's take a look at the coast, or take a look at the path of Priscilla. And here it is just to the west of the Baja Peninsula, and then moving on shore as a D depression. So it's not going to have a lot of strong wind with it, but it will have a lot of tropical moisture. And that's what's going to be producing the rain in northwest Mexico and Arizona especially. And we have maps that forecast this, the few spots in Arizona could see 6 inches of rain, which is almost what they get in an entire year. So that may be a little overdone, but certainly something to keep an eye on. And again, this would be mainly for the weekend when the storm will be coming up and impacting Arizona. And we go now to the 66-hour rainfall map, and look at the rain in Arizona. I mean, it's going to thunderstorm in Phoenix. It's going to storm perhaps in Las Vegas up to St. George, Utah. Parts of New Mexico seeing showers and storms. A second storm is going to give rain from Northern California up the Cascade Range up into Washington State. There'll be a rain the next couple of days in New England, with everybody getting rain there. And you can see it again, that yellow down in South Florida, where another round of showers and thunderstorms will cause some problems for them as well. They've had some flooding issues there, despite the sandy soil that they have. Now we'll move on to the Western Pacific Ocean and show you a really neat typhoon. Look at the eye on that storm, where the arrow is pointing to Typhoon Halong. And we have another depression, 95W, which is looking pretty good at the current time. But again, I don't think these storms are going to be impacting land. This has certainly been the year for them not to impact land. The next slide will show you where Halong is going to be going. And as you can see, it's coming up from the bottom left, and it's coming north, moving toward Tokyo for a while, and then curves right off and moves away from the land areas there. And it will become a rainy low pressure system, which will impact perhaps Southeast Alaska, Western British Columbia, and the Pacific Northwest of the United States. So some interesting things going on tropical-wise, but the main thing is that the storms are missing land areas and staying out over the open water. All right, our headlines look like this for the next couple of days. Cooler pattern, high temperatures in the 60s, mostly sunny skies expected, and it will stay dry into the weekend. I have a very slight chance of a shower in for mainly Friday night, but it wouldn't amount to too much. And basically the dry pattern is back with us here. So it was lucky we got some rain. All right, the forecast for today, a beautiful sunshiny day here in West Michigan with high temperatures in the low 60s, not low 80s, but low 60s. Good amount of sunshine. Temperatures during the early morning, 42 for Grand Rapids, but some isolated frost in Newaygo County north, especially sandy soils and low spots could pick up a little frost. Humidity is relatively low in the afternoon. Winds north to northeast, north to northeast, and they could kick up to 10 to 15 miles an hour during the afternoon. Some high temperatures for you today across the area. The inland areas will be mainly in the low 60s during the afternoon. Everybody pretty much the same. Once you get Houghton Lake north, it's only in the 50s. Traverse City at 56 for a high. Gaylord Grayling at about 54. And you can see some 50s up across the UP, that green color indicating temperatures in the 50s. If we can go on to the map for Thursday, temperatures will be maybe a degree or two warmer. We're still low to mid 60s in inland areas. And it does start to warm up a little bit in the UP as well. So Wednesday, this day, a pretty cool day. Thursday, maybe a couple degrees warmer, but chilly in the morning when temperatures could be well down in the 30s. All right, the 5-day forecast looks like this. So we'll be seeing sunshine for Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, anywhere from mostly sunny to partly cloudy. Chance of rain Friday at 20%. That would be mainly Friday night. And Saturday, just 10%. So don't worry about that. Weather should be good for the football games for the most part. And you can see the coolest morning is going to be Thursday. We could reach mid-30s even here in the city, with some of the outlying areas down around 30. So that could be a freeze for many areas that are in inland areas away from the lake. 70 degrees, the high temperature again on Sunday. We should see some nice days ahead. This will be a great weekend again to head out to that apple orchard, pick some apples, buy some apples, grab a pumpkin. There's bounce houses and all kinds of fun stuff you can do on a Saturday here in West Michigan. So enjoy. All right, the 8 to 14-day outlook is in, and that's updated every day. And just the same story this whole fall has been the above average temperatures here. Even if we hit a day that's below average, the overall above average pattern continues, and it will be a little bit on the cool side on the West Coast. All right, rainfall for the 8 to 14-day period looks like this. I think we'll see a near average rainfall here. It may be a little bit on the dry side, but you can see where the moisture is out there in Arizona, Southern California, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, and then spilling out into the Dakotas, where there will be some scattered showers and thunder showers. But on the whole, the main thing is the sunny and cooler weather expected here much of the rest of this week. So get outside and enjoy fall here in West Michigan. All right, some interesting information from Alex and Michelle. This is most interesting. I read an interesting article on the Great Michigan Fire of 1871, October 8th. There were also huge fires in Chicago. That one attributed, we don't know for sure, but attributed to Mrs. O'Leary's cow knocking a lantern over. And also the Peshtigo fire was the biggest one of all. That was in northeast Wisconsin. There were several other fires as well, and there is some speculation now that there might have been a meteorites coming down that may have contributed to starting these fires across the area. But that was, of course, a very dry year in 1871. And the Chicago fires may have contributed to the Michigan fires as well, as embers could have even crossed Lake Michigan. Really an interesting pattern. There were fire tornadoes, and there were about as many people that were impacted in the Peshtigo fire, I believe, as in the Chicago fire. So, and of course, it mentions in the article here that Holland, Alpena, Manistee suffered serious damage from those fires in that very dry year. All right, what else do we have here for you? On this date in 1890, this pilot, racer, and businessman was born. He was in 1910's Indy 500. Wow. I mean, how many of you knew the Indy 500 was going on in 1910? I mean, I can't imagine the cars went anywhere near as fast as they do today. He was a World War I war hero, survived a plane crash in World War II, so he's still around in World War II, and ran Eastern Airlines. God, I should know this. All right, let's go on to the next slide and see who it was. It was, drum roll, oh yes, Eddie Rickenbacker. Why didn't I remember that? Amazing guy. All the stuff he did, racing cars, airplanes, running Eastern Airlines. So interesting man, contributed a lot to the country here back in the early 20th century. All right, what else do we have here for us? April 8th, 1945, Raytheon Manufacturing Company filed the first patent for this kitchen appliance. Well, that's interesting. In 1980, only 20% of American households had one. Wow. A teenager to wash dishes. No, maybe not. But most had one by 1990. All right, let me think. I can think this one out. What do we have in the kitchen here? I think I know what it was. Microwave oven. How's that? Is that a good guess? Microwave oven. 1980, only 20% of American households had one, but most had one by 1990. And I remember they were like as big as a Toyota. They were huge, and you had to put them on the counter, and they took up half the counter space, if I remember right. But I remember the first microwave I bought our family, and that's one of those things where if you don't have one, you're saying, oh, I can get by without that. Who needs a microwave oven? And then once you have one, it's kind of like, how did I ever live without it? It's kind of like air conditioning. Interesting. All right, let's go on to the next slide here and see the answer. And it is indeed a microwave. And I think the first one I bought was about twice that size. But very, very interesting. All the buttons on the side, all the things you can do. I'm a guy, so I don't know what every button is for. I can do a minute or a 2:45 or something like that. But and I can. You have to hit on my microwave. You have to hit the popcorn button twice to do popcorn. You can't just do it once. All right, let's move on. Enough kitchen talk for the time being. We got some pictures to share with you here. October 8th, 1957, Jerry Lee Lewis recorded this hit song. Goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire, I believe it was. I think most everybody of my generation knows that. And he was quite the character, wasn't he? Have you ever read about this guy? The guy was married about 7 times, 6 or 7 times, including some kind of questionable marriages. He was I think the cousin of one of the televangelists who got in trouble, but quite a character. And I think he lived into his 80s. And his last marriage was when he was in his 80s or something like that. But he could play piano, and he had. I guess you could go. I guess you can't call him a one-hit wonder, but he that was his big song, "Great Balls of Fire." Goodness gracious! Off we go. What's next? Let's see if we can go on here. The next series of photos are from Linda Kaufman. They are storm clouds over Lake Michigan, just north of South Haven. Okay, now I'm excited because that was where the first big storm was coming on shore, right into South Haven and that area just north of South Haven up toward Ganges and Glen up in there. This is October 6th. All right, let's take a look at the pictures. I'm excited. I want to see them. Here we go. There's the first picture, and as you can see, we have what looks like a shelf cloud coming in off the lake. The high clouds blown off the top of the storm are in the top of the cloud, or top of the picture right here. And you can see to the south there, as you look down toward Benton Harbor, it's a little brighter. But you can see that rather ominous-looking shelf cloud coming at you there. And you can see how dark it looks under there, indicating a pretty thick cloud and some heavy rain there. All right, next picture from Linda. Let's see what we get. And there it is again. You can see the cloud off to the right and some blue sky. You got a big storm like that approaching, and you can sometimes still see blue sky overhead or off to the south or southeast like that with the storm coming in. All right, let's go down to the next slide. I think we got 5 or 6 of these to share with you. And the next one looks like this. There you can see the shelf cloud. We expanded out. And you can look off to the right and see the shelf cloud there. Now, what was really interesting is there was a train spotter that reported a water spout over Lake Michigan, 17 miles west of South Haven. So he was either looking, I don't know for sure if he was looking from the shore or he was out in the boat and happened to see it. I would assume that most boaters would have enough sense that if they saw that coming at them, that they'd hightail it back to the marina. But you can see a little appendage there hanging down off on the right side. I couldn't tell if that was a funnel cloud. I'm assuming it's not because we're looking at a shelf cloud there, and you wouldn't spot a water spout coming from there. But very interesting picture there. I think we have at least one more to share with you here from Linda. And there it is. Notice how it's starting to get a little bit brighter. We're right approaching sunset now. And so it's starting to get a little brighter with the sun kind of shining through from the other side of the storm. But pretty interesting shelf cloud going across there. And behind it, where you can see you don't see any cloud features in that lighter area there. That's where the rain would be falling. And you can see a rain shaft there off to the right, or excuse me, off to the left. This particular storm produced a 41-mile-an-hour wind gust at the South Haven beach. And there were 4 instances where there were trees down in Allegan County, and that was the only report of wind damage anywhere in the entire United States was in Allegan County, Michigan. So that's kind of interesting. Do we have another picture from Linda? Let's see. Yes, we do. And again, we got the shelf cloud approaching. This is kind of a wide angle shot here where you can look from left to right and see the storm kind of approaching. Yeah, that's a pretty dark cloud right there. So you got a pretty thick cloud. And look at the top of the cloud there is kind of glowing, kind of a whitish gray color there with the more tan color right above the water. But very interesting. You can see in the distance, I don't know if this is the case or not, but you can see in the distance the The water is starting to get a little choppier. It's a little darker as you're looking off toward the west. The waves did pick up as the storm kind of came on through. I think that's the last one. Do we have another one from Linda, or are we on to something else here? Let's take a look. Yeah, we're on to something else. But thank you, Linda, for the pictures. That was awesome. And really exciting to see pictures like that. Even if you're not in the storm, people can take pictures of the storm and then share them with everybody, and we can have a good time taking a look at what the storm was like. John Doherty sends a picture of the moon. Looks like there's a little bit of a branch there blocking out a part on right around 5 o'clock. But a beautiful picture of the moon. You can see the darker gray areas, the lighter areas there. The moon is slightly closer to the Earth this time out than it normally is, so the moon's looking big. And like I said, I can look at it way high up above me here right now, looking through the windows. All right, do we have something from the other John Scully? Yes, we do. And that is either a sunrise or excuse me, a sunset or a very bright moonset. We'll go with the sunset, and you can see the variation of color there you can see, and a lot of footprints in the sand from all the activity that we've had at the beach here. You get some Octobers and there's hardly anybody at the beach, and you get a month like this where we've had just a fantastic month for boating and even jumping in the water, getting your feet wet. So it's really been fun. I think that's all we have for you for slides today. I want to thank you so much for spending these 26 minutes with me as we take a look at some of the weather slides. Again, forecast for today, sunny and cool with temperatures in the low 60s during the afternoon, probably upper 50s right at the lakeshore. And the dry and cool pattern continues with the chance of frost here on Thursday. We should see a great weekend, good weekend for getting outside and enjoying fall here in West Michigan. Once again, have a great day.